So I'm file descriptor, I'm a pen tester, and also a bug bounty hunter from Hong Kong. I kind of like to develop websites for like practice or for like my friends. And then one day I read a book, and then the book basically tells me that if you do something like this, you'll get like hacked because it's a vulnerability. And then I was completely mind blown because at that time I realized all the code I wrote was like vulnerable to it. So that's pretty much how I got into this security thing. Bug bounty was not a thing back then. Fast forward to a few years later, and I go to Twitter and I saw some people tweeting about they got rewarded for the security issues reported to company. I was shocked because I never realized you can earn money by like reporting bugs to companies. And then I kind of like want to try it. So at first I did not get like very successful because my first bug was non-applicable. I was very frustrated. And then I kind of like read a lot of articles, and I trying to like do more like hands-on stuff. And then finally I got my first like valid security bugs. For me to hack there's two reasons. So the first is fun. It's very challenging. And the second reason is you can like help the company to become more secure. So if you notice, I mostly hack on Twitter because I think the reason why I hack on Twitter is because I use Twitter a lot. So whenever I use Twitter, I can also like hack on the platform. So by using Twitter, you can also like know what the features are, like what the endpoint they have. So it's less boring because you're not just purely like hacking. You're also like using the platform. So besides Twitter, I also hacked on like Google because I also use Google obviously, and then as well as like GitHub because those are the products that I use a lot. Whenever I find a big bug, I'll be excited. It's just like you finish a very difficult puzzle because I don't find some normal bugs that other people find. So for example, like normal people will probably try a lot of payloads into a page, and they will hopefully get a hit, and then they'll be happy. But I'm not that kind of person, so I am willing to take challenges. And there's another reason is because if something is very difficult to find, there are probably not many people who can find the bugs. So I want to take this approach to like find some really difficult puzzles to solve. And then so if I can solve the puzzle, I'll be very happy because it's beyond the money, right? It's more like you get the successful feeling. In order for a person to be qualified a hacker, I think there are two requirements. So the first one is you have to like understand something very fundamentally. So say like you don't have to be like hacking stuff, but you have to understand something in a very deep knowledge. So for example, I like to read a lot of specification because so whenever you approach a weird bug, if you have the knowledge of something about the specification, you can probably spot it. Oh, it's probably anti specification, so it might be a security issue. And another requirement is you have to get creative because hacking is more like bypassing something. You bypass something a lot, so if you get creative, you can like think out of the box. You can think of other ways that other people like couldn't come up with. Being here in London for the live hacking event is like a privilege, right? Because they're all the best hackers here, so I'm glad that I'm one of them. You can directly talk to the customer because it's not like a very user experience. Because usually you can only like talk to like with the platform and just use the tag. So it's like talking to a bot, right? And when you're in a live hacking event, you can like talk to the engineers, and then you can like, if you have any questions about a bug, you can just get to them and ask them directly, and probably they will not only tell you this is a valid issue, but they will also tell you, well, probably you can try another thing. So yeah, that kind of stuff. So basically, HackerOne paid for everything, for me to fly and then the hotel and everything. So it's very nice. You can also like meet a lot of people around the world. So it's not a very common thing to do, right? You can so besides hacking stuff, you can also like chit chat a lot about the culture, the countries, and other stuff. and then it's very like intriguing. I'm planning to purchase an apartment from my bug bounty money. Well, I don't have a specific person to thank, but I want to thank the community as a whole because they share a lot. I've learned a lot from the community, so I also want to share something back to the community, and then it's a like win-win situation. So my advice is to not look at the low-hanging fruits because the low-hanging fruits are already picked up by, for example, some scanners or someone who is very experienced from the bug bounty thing. And I also recommend to read a lot. By read a lot, I don't mean books. Books are kind of like a dead object. So I kind of recommend you to read like some blog posts because you can get the process of thinking and also keep track of the latest trend. So HackerOne is a little bit different when comparing to other platforms because HackerOne is not interfering a lot between you and the customer. And another reason is HackerOne has the activity thing, right? So you can like read a lot of like the publicly disclosed reports. So it also helps you to learn a lot from other reports.